Welcome to mUNITY Kiosk. This week, we proudly present Right Neighbor. The Right Neighbor site aims to connect people locally for the exchange of ideas and information. Next, Right Neighbor TV.
All right, we're here with Jeremy O'Leary in his permaculture oasis. Jeremy is one of Portland's finest permaculture experts who doesn't just talk about it, he lives it. So he's going to give us a tour of his land here and just show us all the techniques that people are going to be learning. And yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, the lazy gardening is basically the premise is that if you're having to put a lot of work into the system, there's something the system not doing the work for you. So one of the things, I am a bird lover, I have these bird feeders. Birds will eat a lot of insects, and basically it's that birds will, when the birds spend a lot of time in the yard and, well, of course, poop, they'll be bringing a lot of phosphorus. And if you have healthy soils, the fungus in the soils will take that phosphorus and basically distribute it around the yard. And so it's another case where you let something in the system do the work for you instead of you having to haul around bags of whatever.
So permaculture is for the birds.
Heck yes. 2 summers ago, when we had a fairly kind of typical summer where it's, well, warm, not hot, cold, I was able to get upward a quart or more of fresh fruit from the yard every week for basically May through end of September.
So this is like a Franken cherry?
Yeah. Yeah, several different varieties of cherries on here. There are cherries that ripen at different times of the year, so that way I can just kind of like wander to a spot and get my cherry fix. If you look down, this is co-planted with a sea berry. So sea berry is a nitrogen-fixing shrub that, because it's a nitrogen fixer and it's not going to get tall enough to basically compete with the cherry leaves, the nitrogen fixer feeds the cherry tree. And so it's another example of you're setting up a system to do the work for you.
So the difference in permaculture design is also to think about trying to be able to harvest different fruits at different times so it's not all coming at once.
Yeah, you're stacking functions in space and time. And so you're trying to use up the space. Now this is a artichoke that I let go to seed. Obviously it doesn't look like much now, but the bees were just absolutely thick with it.
Welcome to mUNITY Kiosk. This week, we proudly present Right Neighbor. The Right Neighbor site aims to connect people locally for the exchange of goods and services. Next, Right Neighbor TV.
Because my yard has this weird kind of triangle shape to it, the long rows just kind of created problems, and I thought about doing something, the keyhole design, which is a fairly common design, but the layout of the yard just wasn't particularly conducive. It's also the whole thing with rows, that was pretty much just something I started as a result of mechanical agriculture. That's not really applicable here. The idea with having these patches, you want to keep the soil as fluffy and loose as possible. So you have uninterrupted root growth wherever possible. So these are a bunch of aluminum sliding glass doors I picked up from somebody who upgraded.
So this is a potato tower.
Yes.
And what did you do? Put the eyes of potatoes in there that you cut, or how did you get potato tubers started?
Well, I like to buy my potato starts in part because you generally get a higher yield than if you just reuse your existing potatoes. But one of the reasons I put things in a potato tower is so you want to give the potatoes to be able to create the plant to create the potatoes in a fairly loose soil. And it's also when it comes time to harvest them, I just pick up the plastic bin and I don't have to do any digging.
If somebody wanted to start one of these potato towers now, they could get going any time of year?
Potato towers you want to be doing sooner rather than later. Potatoes like to get going several weeks before the last frost. I believe one of the expressions is basically by St. Patrick's Day you want to be having potatoes in the ground.
So get on it.
Yes. So we encourage you to come take Bright Neighbor's permaculture crash course, which we'll be hosting at properties like myself and other people who, if you have a yard and you want to get going, we can help you get going on that. And it's a 4-hour course, and like one of the things I specialize in is how to incorporate so you have dogs running through the yard, and so you can also have native plants and be able to take care of our native wildlife at the same time.
Let's teach people permaculture.
Heck yeah.
Welcome to mUNITY Kiosk. This week, we proudly present Bright Neighbor. Bright Neighbor highlights local outlets for goods and services that give back to the community. Next, Bright Neighbor TV.
Hey, Dave.
It's about time you got here, Randy. What's going on?
I'm really happy to be here at your headquarters, man. This is really cool. It's your
Bread quarters.
Your bread quarters.
That's right.
If people come here to actually get your bread instead of just the stores, they can actually save some money, huh?
Save a lot of money. Yeah. By the way, we are located in Milwaukee, right across the street from Bob's Red Mill. You know, we love Bob over here. Bob loves us. Hey, why don't you go in first?
All right. Man, this smells really good. If you're willing to get bread that's only 1 day old, you can save 1/3 on the price by coming to your store.
Yes, it is an unbelievable deal. This is where our day-old prices are, and you can get these day-old, and they're literally 1 day old. And if that's not cheap enough for you, it's pretty cheap. Take a look at some of these prices. Now here's a loaf of good seed for $2.60 a loaf in the freezer. And if you buy more than a dozen, you can get it for $2 a loaf.
That's
$2.
awesome. That's awesome.
Welcome to mUNITY Kiosk. This week, we proudly present Bright Neighbor. The Bright Neighbor site aims to connect people locally for the exchange of goods and services. Next, Bright Neighbor TV.
We were talking about the biodegradable aspect of the bags that we're using now. There's an agent in these bags which will help it to biodegrade within a couple of years. It's a step in the right direction. We got a long ways to go, but it's a start. A lot of people love my good seed bread. Now I make a couple of different things with this mix. It's good seed mix. This is some amazing stuff. This is made some great bread. I take this combination of seeds, I put it inside and out of the bread. It's you won't find any other bread with this many seeds in it. I'm pretty doggone sure of that. At Dave's Covered Bread, we're really into the idea of having a neighborhood, being part of a neighborhood which is sustainable, trying to be more sustainable, and trying to go into the future with hopes of changing the world. You know, in our case, one loaf of bread at a time. But we're looking at being part of a great community, and that's what we're doing with Bright Neighbor. We're proud to be part of Bright Neighbor.
High five.
Welcome to mUNITY Kiosk. This week, we proudly present Bright Neighbor. The right neighbor site aims to connect people locally for the exchange of ideas and information. Next, Right Neighbor TV.